G'day, I'm Matt from Mats Sharpening Services. So I run a sharpening business. I service predominantly people that use knives, domestic mums and dads to commercial kitchens, restaurants, pubs. Also, I look after groomers, professional and domestic, and horse clippers, professional and domestic, doing clipper blades, scissors, knives, saw blades, garden tools, anything else that might come my way. I'm happy to look at it, and if I can help you out as far as sharpening it, then I will. If not, then I'll do my best to be able to direct you to someone that might be able to help you out. Today, I'm hoping this is the first of a series of videos that I'll do to provide you a bit more insight on the sharpening that I do, some of the techniques that I use that you will help you give provide you a bit of an insight on how I get a good quality finish on items that people entrust me with. Also, you might be able to find a few tips and tricks in what I do to be able to help you if you're willing to, you have the courage to be able to try to tackle the sharpening at home. And I'm not going to try to bite off too much at the moment because I'm trying to find my feet with everything as a new camera, a new, camera angles, audio, lighting, all that kind of stuff. I want to try to make it as interactive as possible for the audience, and hopefully, I want to make it engaging so you hang around and you want to subscribe and you want to know a bit more about what I do here in the workshop. I've got lots of ideas about future content that I want to share with people about sharpening knives, scissors, clipper blades, and most recently, you would have seen, if you haven't seen, in some of the posts on my Facebook and my YouTube page, I've embarked on a knife making journey, so I want to be able to blog some of those and share that journey with people, for anyone that might be interested in making knives. So I've made a knife. I've got a couple in the process at the moment where I'll forge them and sharpen them. I'm going to go down the path of trying different kinds of steels and different kinds of knives. So I like that kind of stuff. It's pretty cool. I'm hoping that if you stick around, you might find it cool as well. But today, I thought it just a bit of an introductory video about where I want to go with these blogs, because one of my friends had mentioned that I should probably be a bit more, I don't know, show a bit more insight on what I do, and I know there's a lot of interest. I'm appreciative of the subscribers I got to at the moment to my Facebook page and my YouTube channel. I want to expand that, and I want to share the knowledge, and it's about myself giving back to that community, the social network community, because I wouldn't be here where I'm at today 6 years on since I started, six and a half years on when I started the business, if it wasn't for those social network communities where I've been able to grab a little bit of a section of learnings on how to improve a particular process and what I do in sharpening. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for that forum or platform where I've been able to learn something, put it towards my process and improve what I do to be able to provide a better service for my clients, which the feedback I get, pretty happy with what I do. It's been sustainable. I'm still here, and I really enjoy with what I do. So today it's about just that, I guess, an inaugural video to introduce what I'm doing as far as behind the scenes, because I've always done posts about the finished product, but I want to sort of take you in a bit more, provide a bit more detail and provide a bit more insight, because I think you'll get some value out of it and a bit more appreciation to what I do in the workshop, and I want to share that. So, and that journey will also include taking you around what I've got here, the machines that I use, some of the techniques, and provide a platform for you to be able to provide feedback on. You might be able to help me better my position in doing particular techniques in sharpening scissors, clipper blades, knives, etc. So today I just thought I would start. I don't want to sort of bite off too much for what I can chew, and I'll just sort of demonstrate on the onset about what I get. So I've got a client's knives here, so we'll have a bit of a look. So these are pretty stock standard set of Baccarats. I'll either do post-in, or you can drop and collect from some boxes. I've got some secure locker boxes at my house where you can drop and collect your items. I can give some details if that's something that may be of interest to you, or you can have a look on the website. So the website is scissorsandclippers.au. You can get all the information there regarding my sharpening services, as well as the products that I sell, scissors, clipper blades, and other grooming accessories. So yeah, this is sort of run of the mill. Here's mum and dad clients and Baccarat knives. Yeah, these come in a set. Here they are here. They all different shapes and sizes, but this is pretty run of the mill of what I see from a mum's and dad's perspective. And even down to the pocket knife. I'll get a pocket knife thrown in, because who doesn't have a pocket knife? Well, some people might not have, but a lot of people have a pocket knife. They want to get dressed up. So, I can talk something like this. This is a single handle folder. It's got a nice serration on the edge, and at the heel there. And this is something which I'll talk about in later videos, where I'll talk in a bit more detail once I get my equipment set up, because I'm keen to actually go into a bit of detail about how the serrations are placed onto the blade, how I sharpen the serrations, the purposes of the knife. So this is a single handled folder. You can open it with one hand. It's a point of convenience. I'll talk about the different qualities of steel and the numbers on the knife blades that you might see, kitchen knives to pocket knives, all about the different clips and the bits and pieces on the blades. Future videos, as we sort of progress deeper, I'll start to talk about all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I don't want to go into too much detail about everything, because there's a lot to talk about and there's a lot that I want to explain. But we'll start with today, and I'll start with this machine. So, this machine's been so awesome. I've had multiple sharpening machines. So I suppose to give a bit of background to how I got to this place at the moment to have the sharpening business has been going really well, and I appreciate my clients as 6.5 plus years that I was a slaughterman in abattoirs. So I worked, for the last 20 years, I've been sharpening knives, and for 10 plus years I was working in abattoirs across Victoria and New South Wales, hand sharpening knives since I left school and become a meat inspector. And just through that trade, I had to learn how to sharpen knives, and I was always doing it by hand, always using a whetstone. And it was over a period of time. I'm pretty anal, I'm pretty pedantic about what I do, and to make my job easier, it was I need to make my job easier on the chain. I have to have a sharp knife, and what I do, I just get really focused and fixated on making sure that I do a good job. I wanted to make sure that I really had a sharp knife every day, and from that, it sort of burst to, it sort of clicked. It really didn't click after probably 5 years in doing the job, that I sort of cracked the Da Vinci Code, if that's what you want to call it, about learning how to sharpen a knife by hand, how to use a steel, how to use a strop. And these are things which I'm going to talk about in later videos, where it sort of all fell into place, sort of the matrix aligned, and I sort of got it, and I was able to teach that to other people. It gave me I was really confident on the process that I was following, using a stone, using a steel, and from there on in, I've enjoyed it. It's a bit of a self satisfaction. So that's transpired into, I was always sharpening knives, and I always want to do something for myself. So it's sort of from sharpening knives to doing something for myself to starting a business to here we are today. So when I did start a sharpening business, I wanted to get a system which was accurate, which was repeatable, because there's a lot of knife sharpeners out there that have high speed running belt grinders and use freehand without jigs, and that's fine. You can if you've got the skills, if you've got the muscle memory in your wrists, in your hands, in your shoulders, you can do a good job, but you'll never have it repeatable. It'll never be repeatable if you're doing it with just your person to be able to set the angles up on the machine. So before I even started the business, I sort of researched and looked around about what was going to be the best piece of equipment to do the job to start a knife sharpening business, and it was the Tormek. And the Tormek is just such a grouse machine. I've had multiple Tormeks, the T8s. There's the knife grinders, knifegrinders.com. I'll put a link down in the comments. Awesome. He has all of Vladimir, I think Vladimir has had the Tormek. So the Tormek's a Swedish machine, and worked out all the hacks for the, and it does a really outstanding job. I've had multiple Tormeks. I had a really good system set up at markets, pump out a quality product, diamond wheels. However, it took a lot of time to achieve those high quality sharpening finishes that people appreciated, and as a result, I needed to find something that was going to hit that same mark, but it was going to be able to do it in a quicker period of time. So what I've done, I've actually built this machine. It's a bit of a Frankenstein of a hybrid of a Tormek, which uses the jig, which is and this is the new self-centering jig. So Tormek make this is Mark II of the small knife jig. Mark 1 was an offset center jig, and I'll talk about this later in future videos. But yeah, I created this bracket which is similar to a Tormek. It gives the ability to go sort of back and forth, up and down, so you can raise your heights. This is a sewing machine motor and a sewing machine VFD drive, which I got off eBay. And this is a 1x30 inch belt machine, which previously had a full speed motor, which was too quick to run to sharpen knives, which some people use, and that's fine, but you have to be really careful not to gullet knives out, not to cook tips, not to take the temper out of edges. So I've got this whole base, and traditionally it is mounted vertically, but I've mounted it horizontally, and I've placed this motor on the side, which is a sewing machine motor, which allows me to make it variable. So here's a potentiometer for those electronically minded, which allows me to alternate the frequency at the speed in which this motor spins. But also the beauty of the VFD, it is reversible. So not only am I able to increase, decrease the speed, but I'm also able to reverse it depending if I want to do a leading edge or a trailing edge sharpen, and I'm able to alternate the speed, which is really critical, because you don't want to cook your edge when you're running and sharpening knives, because you will take that hardness, that temper out of the edge of the blade, and you'll just ruin it completely. So in a nutshell, yeah, this machine, I've had this machine for, I've only just gone through my second motor, and the first motor lasted me about 5 years. So it's absolutely awesome. With these future videos, I will go through the different belts that I use, the progression of belts, and talk about the fundamentals of Why I use those belts, the burr, creating a burr, the deburring, and just to give you a bit of understanding anyhow how the whole process works and fundamentals that you can use for yourself at home. So what I'll do, I'll show you the knives earlier that I received. They're pretty stock standard that I received from mums and dads, kitchen knives for me to sharpen. I'll go through, you'll see in real time, me sharpening one of those knives. I'm not going to go through the whole lot today, only because I want to refine the video aspects, the audio. I need to go through and do some editing, see what's going to work. So, you enjoy the experience as much as I do, learning about all of those processes. But in essence, I'll be getting the knife, and generally, this is a new client, and these aren't too bad. But by the time I see a knife and sharpeners see knives, they're pretty stuffed. The edge is pretty, it's seen better days, and I think clients, they get to the wit's end, go, right, enough is enough. They'll search out knife sharpening in Google, or they'll find someone in social media, wherever you are in the world, and they'll go, right, I need to get these knives sharpened. And they could have chips, run it out. It can be really in terrible shape. These are completely dull, like you can see where I'm running my finger up the blade. That's fine, but they haven't got big gullets out of it, and they haven't got, the tips broken off them, which I often see. That's right, it just means that it's less work for me. So what I'll do, I will put the PPE on, the personal protective equipment, because I want to be in this job for a long time, not a short time. And I'll run through one of these knives, sharpen it, and go from start to finish. But it will be in the later videos that I'll go into a bit more detail and showcase each of the steps and what to look for when I do sharpening, and especially if that's something you want to try out at home. But for now, we'll just sort of touch start to finish so you get a bit of an understanding. Rightio, there we have it. So, you know what? I've been doing this for that long, and I know I've watched a few other videos, and there's paper tricks and Italio tricks and all that kind of stuff, which I will do down the track just to sort of demonstrate, you know, how sharp the knife is. And you know, if you are confident, and it used to be the same process in the abattoirs, because you got cut-proof gloves on, you can't be sharpening a knife going, oh, is it sharp? You got to have absolute conviction in what you do and know what you're doing without having to do some test methods. So, you know, I don't sort of, and I'll also show you in later videos about, you can make paper and you can make all these tricks to appear like they're super sharp. Don't get me wrong, but there's particular ways, what is it, smoke and mirrors, is that the terminology? To make something appear what it's not. So after I've sharpened, what I do, I use I'm back. I use a white spirit. White spirit is it does the best to remove that rouge and any other blemishes. So the white spirit is a low odor terps. And I also use a blue workshop towel, which I get from Costco. So that's the best. Also use it for the clipper blade sharpening and cleaning the wheels, but we'll touch that on later on. So, and it's really hard to show here in this on this camera, and in future videos I'll try to include, well, I will include, I've got a USB microscope. I can use extra magnification on the phone just to demonstrate a bit more detail of the structure of the edge after sharpening. But I think you can see and appreciate that, yeah, that is a lot sharper. I'm not going to be running my finger across the edge as you'd seen I've done earlier, but it's a lot sharper, and I will be going through, yeah, the rest of the knives that the client has to bring them up to speed, including that folder, and I'll pack them up, wrap them up, get them back to the client, and I'm confident that they'll be happy with the job that I've done. So thank you if you're still here at the end of this video. Thank you for sticking around. If you want to see more content like this, you want to support what I do, please subscribe and share. I'll try to put more info in the comments about what I've done. Please be kind to me. This is the first of hopefully a long series of videos that will generate some interest, some subscribers that want to know a bit more about what I do here in the workshop and want to know a bit more. So I appreciate you being here and supporting the channel, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you.